Today we celebrate what you do every day to provide exceptional services and support that inspire people who are visually impaired to attain their goals. This is no small endeavor, for your tireless efforts have a major impact on the lives of so many people we serve and their families. My words could never be enough praise for all that you do to make Lighthouse Guild a place for help and hope for our clients through all their challenges they face and triumphs they achieve. So, now let's celebrate. You're in for a treat. Thanks to the Employee Appreciation Day Committee and the Human Resources team, we have a wonderful program lined up. We will begin with recognizing staff and their years of service, followed by a video featuring some of our colleagues sharing about their time at Lighthouse Guild, and finish with the winners of the favorite memory submissions introduced by Employee Appreciation Day Committee member and marketing specialist Jeremy Morak. All right, so before we recognize our colleagues for their years of service, let's take a minute to acknowledge our numbers for 2021. So for 2021, 7,000 visits were provided by our health center to more than 3,500 patients. 17,000 visits were provided by our behavioral health service to over 700 individuals by incorporating telehealth. More patients receive vital, mental, and emotional health care than ever before. 44 states were covered by the telesupport groups, with over 500 adults, young adults, teens, and parents participating. 1,200 people received rehabilitation services, from senior adaptive living programs to Saturday youth programs. 45 tech consultations at our first Technology Center open house, supporting interest in tech solutions. 450 Guild Care Adult Day healthcare clients received nursing care, physical, occupational, and speech therapy, social and therapeutic activities, and vision rehabilitation. 20 scholarships were awarded to 14 college-bound and 6 graduate school students from across the country. 732 e-learning program hours were accessed by 504 professionals, enabling them to provide the best possible care to their patients. And over 20 ongoing research initiatives, including developing and evaluating technology that will allow people with vision loss to navigate their world better. So, great work every year. All right, from day 1 to 50 years, what you do every day to provide Lighthouse Guild services is a very important mission, and I'm proud to call you all my valued teammates. As I read off names and years of service, please hold your applause until the end. So we're going to start now with people who have been here for at least 5 years. And so Cheryl Chung, Marisol Bender, Lisa Miller, Jadrian Brown-Ray, Galina Deshkovich, Margaret Walters, Tiffany Roman, Edward Plumacher, Randy Kozar, Amir Tokak, Charisse Marie Townsend, Bonita Jansen, Yvonne Waldemar, Lauren Duty, Jeffrey Seamus, Patricia Stuff, Janesabel Rodriguez, Gail Doring, Laura Newman, Tamara Greeley, Ina Babeve, Peter Bookstein, Jenny Tang Chen, Yupin Shu, and Edward Ross. And now, people have been here for at least 10 years, and the list gets really long. Kelly Reed, Pamela Cinta, Helen Culverhouse, Jennifer Drew, Draga Togueras, Miriam Tito, Fernanda Garcia Pina, Jocelyn Tapia, Morris Sweeney, Susan Miller, Cynthia Acevedo, Valerie Cruz, Suzanne Sackler, William Seifert, Sarah Spicehead, Inga Rabinovich, Michelle Singh, Jill Zisman, Jeffrey Amber, Cesar Alfonso, Tammy Britt, Quan Lee, Alice Aviles, Joshua Mitchell, Cheryl Herman Graves, Lily Harris, Karen Barth, Charles Campos, Patricia Matisse, Deanna Diaz, Angelica Rosario, Janine Palazza, Carmen Powell, Lillian Beniquez, Maya Ellis, Michael Boyd, Katya Svetova, Destin Pierre, Luis Delgado Medina, Nancy Doyle, Leonard Feingold, Carrie Reed, and Andrea Zimmerman. You'd think I'd be tired, but no, I have more. All right, people who have been here at least 20 years. Susan Weinstein, Alex Osanuk, Ruben Vasquez, Elizabeth Roman, Joe Harris Chastanet, Felicia Rondasi, Eddie Burgess, Cheryl Persaud, Teresa Olenek, and Anne Marie O'Hearn. At least people have been here at least 25 years. Carol Stokes, Carol Moog, Laura Sperazza, Jane Schmidt, Marcia Shaw, Monica Torres, and Bruce Rosenthal. But wait, there's more. People who've been here at least 30 years. Deidre Saller, Wojtek Jacoby, Adrian Wexler, Izzy Acevedo, Gennaro Rocco, Annette White, Carl Pitt, Angel Guzman, Phyllis Farmer, Gertie Brescindo, and Miriam Garcia. Now, when we get to 35 and above, now you can start doing the math. How old is it?
Very young.
All right, people have been here at least 35 years. Melissa Farber, Angel Pacheco, Jack Shelley, and Diane Formosa, which just leaves one more group. And those are people who have been here over 40 years. All right. Rick, that's an arrow.
Come on, Rick, stand up.
Come on, Rick. And finally, and here I have to go against a promise. Because I promised that I would not embarrass you. But I think that the person who has been here the longest has to wear a hat. All right. So, please, Steve Reinhardt. 47 years of running out of human health. Come here. Where's Steve?
I don't see him.
Where's Steve? Oh, the word must have gotten out that I was going to embarrass him. Oh, all right. Well, in that case, he's going to have to wear it all day. All right. There you go. All right. So, let's give a huge hand for everybody. So, next up is Chief People Officer Melissa Farber to introduce a special spotlight video featuring some of our guests. Melissa.
Thank you, Dr. Cal. Very good. Unbelievable. I say, where did the time go? I'm shocked. I was like 10 when I started here. I really don't get where the time went. A whole lifetime. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to introduce the Employee Spotlight video. I realize at the last retirement party that so many employees who have been here for so many years have such interesting stories to tell. We thought it would be wonderful to film a video of some of our colleagues that you do not normally hear from. This video is a labor of love since I myself, as you just learned, have been here for almost 35 years and know some of these employees very well. I was able to join some of the interviews and hear some of the moving and insightful testimonials. Thank you so much to all who participated. Your time and what you shared are priceless. Thanks also to the marketing team who put this together for us, which wasn't easy since there was so much great footage. After the video, Jeremy will come up and announce the winners of the Favorite Memories contest. And now, without further ado, here's this year's Employee Spotlight video.
Good morning, my name is Adrienne Wexler. I'm a clinical social worker at the Lighthouse Guild Behavioral Health Clinic, and I've had the joy of being here for 30 years.
Hi, my name is Enrique Misonero. I'm part of the finance department, the accounts payable department, and I've been at the Guild for 43 years.
My name is Miriam Tito, and I work for the DTC Medical Vision Department, and I've been with Lighthouse Guild for 11 years.
Hi, my name is Pat Mattis. I have been here at Lighthouse Guild, our Guild Care first, for almost 16 years.
My name is Isidoro Acevedo. Everybody knows me as Izzy. And my title is Assistant Director of Facilities. I have worked for the Lighthouse for 13 years.
Farrell Lafargue, IT department. About 25 years ago, I came on as a consultant.
Gail Doring. I am a registered dietitian at Albany Guild Care. I have worked as a dietitian here since October 2014.
Hello, I am Phyllis Farmer. I am the Director of Development Operations, and April marked my 32nd year.
Hello, my name is Carl Pitt. I have been working at the Lighthouse Guild for 32 complete years, and I am now in my 33rd year. My title right now is CODA, Certified Occupational Therapy Assistant in the Rehab Services Department.
Well, my name is Susan Zaffron, and I am a CNA here at Lighthouse Guild in Niagara Falls, New York. And I have been with Lighthouse Guild for just a little over 13 years now.
Miriam Garcia, CNA, and I've been with the companies for 33 years.
My first internship was at the Jewish Guild for the Blind when we were in our other building on 65th Street. And I had the opportunity to work in what was called the mental health clinic at that time. And the wonderful experience in meeting with clients and understanding their needs, and also doing groups in the program that was across the hall for individuals with mental illness. And I also had the opportunity to have a wonderful experience with Stephen Reinhardt, who is my supervisor even today. His ethical and moral compass, his ability to understand what was going on with clients, his motivation to teach, to have an open mind, made me feel this is the place I wanted to be.
I knew right away that this was going to be the place that I was supposed to be at. Actually, I didn't get into this field until I was quite older, and decided that I wanted to actually get into nursing, but it was a lot of work having to, go back to college and that. And I said, well, I really wanted hands-on with the patients that I had.
My first job at Lighthouse Guild was rehabilitation escort. The rehabilitation escort's responsibilities were to assist or accompany some of our mobility instructors and rehab teachers into neighborhoods that may be questionable. There were a lot of unsafe areas during those times. I would basically just go to accompany them as an escort, and I would do neighborhood checks to go and see what the best way to get to the neighborhood was.
When I first started, 1988, I worked for the nursing home part in Yonkers. It was called Home for Age Blind. Even though my job was strenuous and difficult, I enjoyed it very much. Communicating with different types of residents with different types of care.
I was a contractor that used to do refrigeration and air conditioning for the Home for the Age Blind. I was approached by the facilities director there, Ed Custer, and he asked me to start working back in 1991. I find that it was a challenging place to work for, and I enjoyed it very much from the beginning. So I was a maintenance worker for a while and became a supervisor. And eventually when I joined the Lighthouse, I became an assistant director of the facility.
I started off as a help desk technician, basically helping everyone out with their PC needs. There were very little, not everyone had a PC when we first started off. The network was in its infancy. We had maybe 3 or 4 servers compared to what we have now, close to 100 servers.
When I first began at Lighthouse Guild, I was given a job as a medical receptionist. I had to learn different things along my way. It was very challenging, and I also met my colleague Elizabeth Roman, who I learned the majority of my things from. And then from there, as we continued, years gone by through Lighthouse International, we merged with JGB Rehab, and there we met my other coworkers, where I would say Diana Diaz, definitely, and Jocelyn Tapia, which from them I've learned much more as well.
One of the wonderful things that occurred is that we have so many other programs in the building that I was able to participate in. And so at one time we had a school for children who had physical disabilities as well as emotional problems. And I had the opportunity to work with several of the children. One of the lovely things that occurred was that one of the youngsters graduated, and I was invited to the graduation and was able to take pictures with her. I will never forget how excited her family was to see her walk down the aisle in her cap and gown. And
Well, I started here in the mailroom. From the mailroom, I moved up to the computer department. That's when they had IBM computers. And then when they transitioned to Microsoft, I was asked to come on board to the finance department, and I said, sure. And here I am 43 years later.
After my time as the rehabilitation escort, I was also given additional responsibilities or a new position where I assisted in the rehabilitation groups as a teacher's aide, I would call that position, as well as a mobility assistant. So my job there would be when a mobility instructor would go out to provide instruction, I would make a visit in between that instruction and the next visit from the mobility instructor to just give a brush up on what was taught, to reinforce what was taught, to help out in that way. And I did that for a couple of years.
Well, my position now is vastly different from what I was doing when I started here. It's been a terrific learning experience, learning all of the different dynamics of development, direct mail, major gifts, corporations and foundations. So it's a whole package. So just being able to learn new things and being a part of that process has really been a life-changing experience for me.
I committed to the Lighthouse Guild for so long because I am a people person. I love relating to different types of people. I enjoy my job very much.
When you first became an employee. There was an in-service where they blindfold you and they ask you to follow somebody and you don't know the building, and you get an insight as to what the person that is non-visually, that is visually impaired feels. And it's just for a little moment, but that really touched me. And it touched me to the point that I started connecting. And that connection, translated not only to my work but to the institution, that we were doing something that it was worthwhile. It wasn't just coming to work. And I feel so grateful to be part of this organization.
We've got the greatest bunch of coworkers that I'm currently working with. They've been good over all the years. We've always had a really great team. So even when somebody left, we've picked up somebody good along the way, and we really work together. And we have a variety of clients, a lot of visually impaired clients. We have a lot of intellectually disabled clients, mental health clients, just overall, just the whole general diversity of people that come to program. One in particular calls me Sergeant because I make them do what they need to do. I'm not, I won't let up on them. So, but usually, here comes Sarge.
Well, even though a lot of things here have changed, I'm really proud of the core values in quality care that Lighthouse Guild continues to stand for. So I'm most proud of that. And I think everyone feels a connection with what they do when they see the clients, whether it's from a distance, whether they know them personally or not. It really makes a difference that we're making a difference.
Getting towards the end of my career. I got a little while to go yet, but it's like I could see the finish line, and I'm ready for that, and I will miss everybody here. But I think I wouldn't have wanted to work any other place. It has just been a wonderful experience working here, and I am very glad that Janine brought me over.
What inspired me at the Lighthouse Guild and to stay here is not only my coworkers, but the type of patients I've learned to care for.
I have developed some friendships that I really value. I have been married since I've been here. I've had a family since I've been here. And many of my coworkers have been here the same amount of time. So we've actually been through so many phases of our lives together where you can't help but feel a special bond with people and seeing their families develop and all of those things. Although I provide services to people who are legally blind, and I've done so for many, many years, and about 2 years ago, I think was the first time that I really said, you've done a pretty good job, and I really took time out to say, I have really helped people and it makes me feel good. However, I think the most important thing since I have been here is the way that the people that I am supposed to help, the consumers that I go out to help, have helped me. I think they have helped me much more than I have helped them, because I have walked into many, many different situations, and it can just be someone's attitude in the midst of very trying circumstances that inspires me. It could be a story that they share with me. So in the end, I will say that the people that I am supposed to go out to help have helped me more than I have helped them.
We reopened, and seeing everybody after that long period of time was very emotional. It was so great to see all the clients and the coworkers that I hadn't seen in a long time, and meet some of our new employees. So I just remember that really feeling like an emotional time.
I met my wife, and we met and we fell in love, and it was as a result of working for this great institution. So I not only I'm able to give, but I also receive the better half of my life, which is my wife.
A particular client has stayed with me all these years. He was a young man who had a full career. He agreed that he needed some additional help emotionally because of his HIV status. And so I was fortunate in being able to be introduced to him, and I worked with him for multiple years. The interpersonal connections that he tried to continue but felt isolated because of his loss of sight. All those things were what we worked on together in therapy. As time continued, however, his health began to deteriorate. And when that happened, there was a transition in the work that we did together. The transition was preparation for when he would no longer be here. And the strength of character.
This is much more than a job, a paying job. This is a mission. And so I knew that this was my mission to take care of these people. Something always happens during the day, and it's like, I think, oh, that's a new memory. So I have a lot of memories from here. So, and mostly all good, mostly all good.
All right, people might wonder why I've been here so long. To belong to an organization like this is incredible. I've been blessed. We help very vulnerable population. Just imagine blindness. So an organization like us is essential, and to be part of a group like this where everyone's committed, everyone works very hard, and you see our success because a lot of people compliment us, and we've been around for a long time. So I'm lucky to be here, and that's about it.
Hello? Oh, pick up that. Oh God, when my face is this large, I'm glad that I'm visually impaired. So, as part of the festivities for today, we had asked everyone to submit some of their favorite memories from being here. And as we just learned from that incredibly inspiring video, there are so many important memories from so many years from everyone. And for someone who just finished 1 year here, it's really incredible to hear about the longevity and the decades of service. And that really came through in the memories that were submitted. So first of all, I want to thank everyone who participated and shared some of their favorite memories. It was really difficult for the committee to narrow down to even 3. And then by the time we had narrowed it down...
You never write, you never call.
We had practice. He came in a little early. So it was so difficult to even get down to 3, and then we had asked everyone. We had emailed the 3 entries. We'd asked everyone to vote, and the overwhelming response that I got was, "This is impossible to vote." And I heard that from a lot of people, and that actually reflected in the vote totals. They were so close that we decided. Instead of picking one, all 3 are going to be the winners for this contest. So I want to congratulate our 3 winners, Angel Guzman, Carol Moog, and Angel Pacheco. They were really inspiring. And so for a special treat now, we're going to hear all of them. We're going to have them read their submissions. I know Angel Guzman is on vacation, but we're going to hear from him as well. But first up, let's hear from Senior Orientation and Mobility Instructor Carol Moog to share her favorite memory.
I guess it was hard to compete with me and 2 angels. My favorite memory is something that happened back when I first started teaching, about 1996 or 7. And I was a mobility instructor, and I had a client who was totally blind, newly blinded, young man in his early 20s, and motivated and wanted to learn. started practicing using the cane, traveling on the sidewalk, crossing streets, making progress. And part of that progress was that I would call him from the payphone. If you remember the days before cell phones, we had to use payphones. And they were actually all over the city at that time. So I would call from a certain location a few blocks away and say, you meet me at this location, I'm waiting for you. And this would give him the experience of traveling by himself, really by himself, and then he could let me know how he did afterwards. So in a way, it was bringing him into that level of independence, but having that support that I was there when he got there. So as time went on, we started doing the subway and getting on and off the train, learning the route, and he wanted to learn the route to our old building at 15 West 65th, and we were practicing that. And again, at a certain point, he had accomplished that up to the train station at 66, so I said, okay. I said, I'll call you. And I went at the office at my desk, and I called him and I said, okay, I'm here. If you want to leave, I'll come down into the station in about an hour, and I'll meet you there. So I did my paperwork, and I went down and walked down to 66th Street, and I waited by the turnstiles. And he came within 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, he arrived. And I was anxious, I wanted to hear how he did. I said, so how was your trip in from Brooklyn? And he said, well, I have to tell you something. I said, what? I'm waiting to hear something. So he said, no, I have to tell you, I never thought that I was alone. He said, every time you called me from a payphone, I would dial *69. Now that's another dated reference here. Remember *69 went before caller ID. And it was the Brooklyn number, so he said, I thought that you called and then you would walk to my apartment building and watch me go. And I'm like, no. I was waiting where I said I was waiting. You were by yourself. But he said, when you called from your office, and it was a 212 number, and it was your office number, I said, there's no way she can get out to Brooklyn, follow me back. I'm really on my own. So I said, well, what did you do? And he said, I called my girlfriend at work, and I said to her, I don't know what I should do. And she said, well, if Miss Carroll thinks you can do it, you can do it. So he had that family support and the encouragement so that he actually, got on the train in Brooklyn, did the transfer at Times Square, got off at 66th Street and met me. So I said, yes, you really did it, and that's when he realized that he really could travel by himself. So that story, I do repeat it a lot to my other clients, especially when they're just starting to travel on their own. And so that they know that, yes, I'm not sneaking behind you. You have to really problem solve and figure everything out, and that I trust you to do it, and that they know that they can do it. So that's my favorite.
Thank you, Kara. That was amazing, as we do. Up next, rehabilitation specialist Angel Guzman is conveniently on vacation, so we will be hearing from fellow rehabilitation specialist Deidre Saleh, who will be reading his submission.
Thank you. All right, rehab.
I have to tell you, I'm very biased. It is rehab for life. I work with some of the best people ever. We love the job, but we love and we care for each other. So I have a funny story because Angel Guzman is not here. So I'm gonna read his favorite story for you. But Angel Guzman and Carl Pitt, they taught me everything I know about the field. So I owe those guys everything. And even when there was a retirement and a cutback, Angel Guzman reached back and reminded them that I was in the rehab department before I was in the Guild School. So I am very grateful and honored just to read his story because we have come full circle. Funny story about this, the Say When. Everybody know what this is? This is a Say When liquid indicator. And I did say Carl and Angel taught me everything. So one day I go to a client's house and I'm gonna teach the consumer how to use a Say When liquid indicator. I explained that it will beep when the water hits the tires. So the lady pours the water in and the water is spilling over. So I said to her, I said, "You didn't hear the beep?" She said, "I was waiting for it to say when." Boom. Okay. So this is Angel Guzman's favorite memories. It is a consumer who we'll call Mr. G, who was blind as a result of diabetic retinopathy. Mr. G had always had a tough life and had been recently released from a long stint in prison. Mr. G was an angry man and was having a great deal of difficulty adjusting to his vision loss, not to mention everything else. He made a few calls to Mr. G and tried to convince him to see him for services. Mr. G reluctantly agreed, and Angel was able to work with Mr. G to teach him how to use a microwave as well as some personal grooming skills. Shaving. As training went on, Mr. G grew more willing to accept, always content at each task. Reaching the end of training, I remember heading over to Mr. G's apartment. Mr. G opened the door and let me in. Inside, I noticed 2 cups of coffee. Mr. G had made the instant coffee and placed the cups on the table himself. Mr. G then took a seat across from me. I started to take a sip of coffee when I noticed that Mr. G was clean shaven. I stopped and said, "Hey, nice job on the shaving, Mr. G." Jokingly, I added, "How much did it cost you?" Mr. G looked at me and said, "Come on now, Mr. Gooseman. You know I'm taking care of business now." Passing his hand over his face, he added, "I want to look good for the ladies. No more cocked eyebrow and long stare. Just the laugh of a happy man." After services, Mr. G would check in from time to time. About 7 years ago, I was saddened to hear that Mr. G had passed as a result of a stroke. I will always remember his smile. And when I think of the man and how happy it was he had learned how to shave, I just wish the guy could pronounce my name. And that's from Angel Guzman.
Thank you, Deidre, and of course, thank you, Angel. I hope he's enjoying his vacation. Our last but not least submission comes from the Supervisor of Rehabilitation Services, Angel Pacheco, who will be joining us virtually via Zoom to share his favorite memory.
Morning, everyone. I hope everyone is well. I submitted one of my memories, and I've been asked to go ahead and read it. So here we go. In 1999, I was given the opportunity to start the Assistive Technology Center and become an AT instructor. Little did I know how wonderful the adventure was going to be, and still is. After my first year of learning the New York State Commission for the Blind process and the assistive software, I was provided with several cases. I scheduled and completed several assessments that second year, but there was one that is etched in my heart. I began my assessment as usual and completed an evaluation form to determine which technology the consumer would benefit from. I informed the consumer that the first item to be presented was an electronic handheld magnifier. The consumer stated that she tried handheld magnifiers in the past and nothing worked. I let her know that the magnifiers I was going to present to her were very different. She agreed to try them. Prior to turning on the device, I went over how to open and close the handle with an explanation of what each button on the side of the screen would do. I placed a newspaper in front of the consumer, and she immediately said, "I can't read this. Why are you placing it in front of me?" I told her we were going to use the newspaper while using the magnifier. She shrugged her shoulders. You can see it on her face and posture that she had no hope of seeing any text. I told her to hold the device by the handle and to press the on button. Not 5 seconds later, not 5 seconds go by, and she throws the device across the table. It bounces up, and I leap over the table to catch it in midair. I turned around, I looked at her. She was covering her face in tears. I provided her with tissues and asked what was wrong. She couldn't speak and was shaky. 1,000 thoughts went through my mind. I reviewed every step to ensure that what I had did was correct. After about 15 minutes, she was calm enough to speak, and the only 2 words that came out of her were, "Thank you." And she began to cry again. I was still in shock myself and wondered if it was a good or bad thank you. A few minutes later, she stated, "I thought I would never be able to see again." She apologized over and over for throwing the device, and I told her that I understood. We continued with the assessment as tears flowed through each step. It was then that I knew that I was in the right place of my life, and I thanked her. I learned many lessons that day. One of the lessons I learned that day was to sit across from my consumer as well as to gently hold the device to avoid having anything go where it's not supposed to. Also to have a box of tissues available for those that became overwhelmed by the gift of electronic sight or sound. Many tissues were many tissues were used throughout the years.
Talk about inspiring. Gosh, thank you. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Jeremy. Well, that video was wonderful, and congratulations to the winners of the favorite memories contests. Truly inspirational. My thanks to the Employee Appreciation Day Committee. That's Melissa Farber, Maya Edis, Kelly Reed, and Jeremy Morak. The IT and facilities team for the sound, the video, and the setup. Thank you all for joining us today to recognize and celebrate you. On behalf of Lighthouse Guild Board of Directors and our senior leadership, thank you for all you do for Lighthouse Guild and the community it serves. And I'm looking forward to all we will accomplish together in the future. But before you go, as a little thank you, we have branded Lighthouse Guild fold-away bags for you on your seat. This thanks to Michelle Singh. These wonderful bags were her idea. And so, this is a demonstration. Go ahead, show us how this is.
Okay, there's a pouch in the middle, and you just tuck it in, throw it in your bag, on your keychain. For all those skates that ban bags, you'll always have one.
Well done. Well done. Thank you.
And don't forget lunch at 12.
All right, have a great day. Enjoy lunch at 12. Bye now.